Today, we're on part 5 of the Rainbow series. So a lot of us are celebrating that with wearing some blue. We have done a lot. We've done a lot with this Rainbow series. The first part, we talked about accepting the package that our life is in. And then next, the day we wore orange, that was about accepting the package that our relationships are in. Because when we see the activity of spirit within our relationships, it helps us to see the activity of spirit in our own life too, right? And spirit is everywhere present, so actually it has to be in every person that we know. The third part of the Rainbow series was about accepting the package that we are. So first we accept the package of our life, trust the activity of spirit in that. Then we're accepting the package of relationships, trusting the activity of spirit in that. Then we're accepting the package of us, who we are right here, right now. The physical body, all our little quirks, right? Our intelligence, the way we think, and trusting the activity of spirit that works in us right here and now. Then we shifted our focus to the heart. And this was about big cosmic love, right? We're raised with an idea of earthly love, right? I love you, I love cookies, I love goats and little baby cute pajamas, right? But big cosmic love is actually a force. It is source energy, the substance of source energy, giving itself to its creations. So it is a creative force, always seeking to work through us. So that is big cosmic love. So the first part of this rainbow journey, we're actually learning about how to live in a physical reality. But then we hit the heart, and we get into love as divine power, and we realize we're walking in two worlds. We're walking in this physical world that we see, but we're also walking in a spiritual world that we sense. We're learning to walk by faith and not by sight. We embody love and we become amplifiers of love, and love transforms our physical world. So it is a transformative energy. It also helps us to discover the higher spiritual principles and learn to work with those, right? Like faith. So big cosmic love allows us to have awareness of spiritual truth, so we don't get caught up in the drama and the chaos that is in our lives, which it's there. It's there for everybody. So this brings us to the 5th part of our journey. And this is about empowering ourselves and others with choice. Choice is a superpower. And if you've noticed, you probably did, that the colors of the rainbow we've gone through so far have been matched up to the chakras. And now we're at the Throat Chakra, which is the center of divine will and our power of choice. Now every day, we're making choices that either empower us or they disempower us. And we make choices that either empower other people or disempower other people. Every day, that's what we're doing, one or the other. This is why surrendering our personal will to divine will is so important. Now, the first time I heard this concept of surrendering to divine will, I thought, well, I don't want to do that. I don't want to give up comfort and give up my free will and just be bossed around by a supreme being, right? That's what I really thought. It's like I would never be able to do anything fun again, or just have to do spiritual work, right? That's how I saw it. But actually, it's our personal will that keeps us in a state of struggle and not getting to do the fun stuff and not have the goodness and abundance flowing through our life. Personal will keeps us small. Personal will, we will always have to struggle for the things that we want to bring into our life. And if we struggle to bring something into our life, we have to struggle to keep it too. Now, I'm not talking about like something that's hard work. A lot of us have decided we want to create something in our life, and we're willing to put out the work for it. We're willing to put out the effort. I mean, it took effort just to get down here today, right? Imagine somebody who loves the idea of becoming a doctor and practicing medicine. That is a lot of work that they have to do, to go through school and then like all the internships, but they love what they're doing. And so it's not going to feel like a struggle, though it will be hard work. Okay, so there's a difference, okay? We don't want to have to fight for something or struggle for something. but it's okay to work for it. It's okay to work for it. If we're struggling to get something, what that is implying is that there's an opposing force. And because God is everywhere present, God is the substance of all things. Everything that exists has come from this divine substance. Everything that is yet to be comes from divine substance. Everything that's ever been. There are no opposing forces in that because it's all things. If source had an opposing force, it would mean that it was not all things, which would mean it was limited. But it's not limited. It is all things. Now, there can be opposing forces that we perceive. But God is bigger than anything in its way, right? That's divine will. God being bigger than anything in its way. Personal will is, look at all these problems I have. Okay, with personal will, we won't focus on what it is we want to create in our life. With our personal will, we're focused on all the reasons it's so hard to make this happen in our life. We're focused on our perceived limitations. We're focused on things that we may have to manipulate to make it work out. Right? We are focused on the obstacles. Like somebody who might be on a diet, right? I just want to see a show of hands. How many people have at one time in their life tried a diet? Okay. So I think most of you can understand this idea of willpower, right? I'm on day 50 of being sugar-free and gluten-free. Thank you. Now, what usually happens with a dieter using personal will, okay, what it looks like is they walk into the kitchen, right? I know this story really well. Walk into a kitchen and you see all the food you can't have, right? Oh, but I just really want this. Why is it so hard? Struggle. Walk out of the kitchen. Walk back into the kitchen. Walk out of the kitchen. Walk back into the kitchen. Am I even hungry? I'm starving. I'm so hungry, right? There's a struggle. There's a struggle. And we only have so much of our own willpower available to us. That's actually been proven, like as a scientific fact. We have a finite amount of willpower and then it's gone. It's out the window. All right, so there's a struggle. That's what personal will is. It's always about the struggle. Divine will is very different because divine will is a directive force. It is always used with big cosmic love and imagination. Okay, we're always using big cosmic love and our imagination when we have surrendered to divine will. Now, the imagination is really important because we're using our imagination to focus on our desired outcome. We're focusing on the thing that we want to have in our life, the experience. We're focusing on the person that we are desiring to be, that we may not be right now, but we're using our imagination. For example, somebody on a diet who's been sugar-free, flour-free for 50 days, when I walk into the kitchen and I see, like, every once in a while my husband comes home with this Mexican soda. It's like, I'm not even a soda drinker, but now that I'm off sugar, it's like the best looking thing in the world, right? I walk in and I see this little jar, this bottle of lime flavored Mexican soda, and I'm just like, oh, yeah. But then, so what I do, I don't struggle with it. Instead, I imagine in my head me being another day sugar-free. How happy that makes me, because my goal is 90 days. That's my goal. Tomorrow it'll be 51 days. I'm focusing on the Deanna I want to become, right? The Deanna who's like, no, I'm going to go 90 days sugar-free. I'm going to be so proud of that. And like the achiness has gradually been moving out of my body and like shoulders and joints are feeling better. That's the Deanna that I'm focused on. Okay, so big difference between divine will and personal will is divine will is a directive force that gets you there because you're using your imagination to focus on what you want. And the big cosmic love is that activity of spirit that wants to work through you. It's going to create what you're imagining. That's what it's pushing for, right? This big cosmic love. So imagine that your happy outcome is your destination. The car would be the car that drives you to that destination and comfort is divine will. If you're operating off of personal will, you still have your destination, but now you have your car, it has no gas. You're pushing this car uphill, barefoot in the snow, and there are Legos scattered like all over, okay? This is the difference between personal will and divine will. Personal will keeps us focused on the struggle and the pain in our lives. Divine will has us focused on the outcome, where we're going. And we've got a distance to go. We do, like between here and there. But divine will also helps us to move through the struggle. It will guide us on how to get around the obstacles, because God is bigger than anything in its way. So there's no obstacle that we're going to face with divine will, following our divine guidance, being focused on the outcome. We're going to get through it. We're going to get around it, over it, whatever. Okay, so this is the difference between divine will and personal will. And you can see why we want to surrender to divine will, right? We're surrendering. So going forward, then, our lives are all about choice. Every day, we're making choices. Now, are we choosing from a space of divine will? Okay, are we choosing with a Christ consciousness? Or are we choosing out of fear, lack, limitation, and all the reasons why we can't have what we want? We're just focused on our struggle. Every day, we're making those choices. So going forward, what we want to do now, because I'm saying it out loud, now we all have a responsibility. Choosing from divine will is a choice we can make. It's right there available to us. And when we want to grow, we want to expand, we want to grow into that next brightest version of ourselves, we choose from divine will. So how would we use this idea that in making choices every day, so we're empowering ourselves and we're empowering other people? Because remember, we're in relationship too. None of us are on an island. We're in a relationship with other people all the time. So the first thing is we want to understand something called right speech, which I read is a Buddhist principle. But right speech is when we are speaking to others. Are we encouraging someone? Is what we're speaking, is it kind? Is it true? Is it necessary? Because right speech will always lead to happiness for ourselves and to others. Right? That's right speech. So how are we speaking to other people? Are we encouraging, supporting, or are we not encouraging? Are we not supporting? I had an experience many years ago where I got invited. This is like really when I was just starting public speaking and teaching. And I got invited to speak out at this New Age store in Riverside. And they wanted me to talk on Celtic folklore. And I was like, are you sure you want me to do that? I mean, you gotta find somebody better, right? But the gal who worked there, she's like, no, Deanna, I've talked to you so much, and I really feel like you have a good understanding of this, and you feel like the perfect person. So I decided to say yes to this, and I was really excited. And there were several other people who were speaking there. But when it was my turn to speak, there was this woman standing at the back of the store, and I later found out that she goes around to all these events, tries to be one of the speakers too. She was standing at the back of the store. She had her arms crossed at me, and she was like, she was actually rolling her eyes at me. But she actually did that to everybody, but everybody else was way less delicate than I was back then, right? And so after I gave my talk, I heard her say some rather unkind things about me. And I felt crushed, even though the people who ran the store thought I was great. And there were other people there who were so kind and friendly and came up to me and said that they enjoyed, what I had to share. But I was crushed. I felt a great deal of shame over that. Now, luckily for me, I met these two gals who used to have a store in Redlands called Good Sense. And they were lovely ladies. They invited me to start doing things at their store. And again, I was like, are you sure you want me there, right? Because I felt that shame about that previous experience. But they were so lovely, and they had me doing several things, and every time I would do something for them, after it was over with, they would tell me what they liked about it, and they would make suggestions. But their suggestions came in such a loving way that I looked forward to them because I wanted to be a better person. I wanted to be better at what I did. Now, I had two experiences. I had one experience where somebody's unkind words made me feel so ashamed. I don't know how long it would have taken me to get back up from that if it hadn't been for these two ladies at Good Sense. But see, then these two ladies at Good Sense they lifted me. They lifted me and they encouraged me. Every day we go out in the world and we are either serving as a shining example or a horrible warning. How are we wanting to relate to other people? I know that if we say something and it crushes somebody, yeah, it's their responsibility too to really lift themselves back up. But why would any of us in this room want to be the person that even did that? Right? We don't. Right? We don't want to do that. There's some people who getting up from something like that may be really, really hard. And they may need support. And that's what we are here for. We're here to amplify love. We are here to be grace generators. And so giving kind words of encouragement or support doesn't cost us a thing. But what it brings back to us is so much good in abundance, right? An abundance of light and love and kindness, right? That's what we're here to amplify and share. What kind of words are we speaking to ourselves? Are we encouraging ourselves? Or are we discouraging ourselves? Are our words lifting us or are they burying us? I see every day we have a choice. Where am I coming from today? Where am I going to come from right now? The Christ consciousness. I'm going to be a love amplifier, big cosmic love whose sweep is irresistible. I'm going to be a grace generator. Anything that whatever anybody needs, it's available through the gifts of grace. What am I going to be today? Right? What am I going to be today? Another choice that we will have to make every day is, are we going to do one thing? Are we going to, say one thing that we want to be this. This is our goal. This is what we're committed to. Make promises to ourselves to be this. But then do we do another thing? Do we break promises to ourselves? Do we lose our motivation after 30 minutes of trying to be sugar-free because it's so hard, right? Do we go back to our old way even though we made a promise to ourselves to take care of ourselves? Right? That's another choice that we will have to make every day. Are we choosing small? Every day we're growing ourselves. Are we choosing something small that we think we can manage? Or are we choosing the big, authentic, true thing for us that can only be grown if we surrender our will to divine will? If we have faith in what it is that works through us, for us, as us. That big, authentic thing. What are we choosing? Right? What are we choosing? With our personal will, we're going to choose the thing that we know we could make work out. Right? Because there's nothing new, really. There's nothing new. We know we could make it happen. We're not going to choose the big thing. Now, sometimes we have really good reasons for choosing small. We do. It may be that our choice, this big thing that we want, it may be that our choice would upset other people that we love. For example, somebody may get a job offer that's across the country, and it's like the perfect dream job. But their kids are in a school they love, and their spouse would have to give up friends and family and a job that they love. So they think, all right, well, instead of choosing this big dream job of mine, I'll just find something here that I can tolerate, right, that I can deal with. Remember, big cosmic love whose sweep is irresistible. It's working through us, for us, as us. And if we're going to make a big change, it will work through our whole life. The activity of spirit will be in our whole life, not just in us. We may choose small because it could be a hard choice that we have to make. Somebody may feel they have to divorce a spouse. And yet, what comes in that first feeling of the divorce is like all the stuff that they would have to do, the hardship, the fighting, the arguing, what to do with the kids. All of that would be so much chaos, so much pain, so much suffering. So they think, oh, the kids will be grown up in 16 years. I'll just wait till then. Okay? That's a hard choice. Sometimes we make a small choice because our big, authentic thing that we want, it seems too scary. Right? Maybe there's a doctor who wants to give up 3 months to go work in Africa, like volunteer his time down in Africa. And thinking about it, it sounds like a great idea, but then actually getting to it, it could feel pretty scary. So I go down there where they don't know anybody, right, into this new group of people. Sometimes our choices, the things that we want to bring into our life, sometimes those things are scary because of how big they are, right? Because of how beautiful and amazing they could be and how much beauty and goodness they could bring into our life. But it can still feel really scary. I know you've heard this quote from Marianne Williamson. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. And sometimes doing a big thing that we love can also be really scary. Our personal will focus on all the reasons why this isn't a good idea. Our personal will spot every Lego in the room and make you walk on it. Divine will sees the finished product. Divine will sees the way to get you there, and we'll get you there. So there's a very wise man from the Bible. I'm going to just share a little story of him because it's a very powerful story about choices. But his name is King Solomon. And in Proverbs, he wrote, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and rely not on your own wisdom. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path." King Solomon was known for loving God, and he would say this all the time. Love God all the time. Just love, 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 love God. What he was doing was he was surrendering personal will to divine will. He was having faith in the activity of spirit within him and acting on the guidance he received from that. His faith was strong, right? And he was such an amazing king that God came to him and said, "You are such an amazing king. I'm going to give you anything you want." So King Solomon thought about it, and he could have asked for wealth. He could have asked for great relationships, many wives, which he eventually got, money, power. But he decided to ask for an understanding heart. And God said, "Well, you have asked for an understanding heart, so I will give you this. I will give you wisdom. And because you've asked for wisdom, I will also give you great power and money." So King Solomon had all of that because of this wisdom, because of his kindness. Israel went through 40 years of a golden age under the rule of King Solomon. And then he started making choices that were small. He got caught up in foreign entanglements and politics. He became kind of greedy and was manipulating things around him, manipulating people to get what he wanted. Now, all of this went against his divine nature because that's personal will. That's fearful thinking, trying to struggle to make different things happen. And that's not in alignment with our divine nature either. His kingdom crumbled. It became divided. His kingdom crumbled, and he went out, not with a bang. He went out just with a, right? He fell. King Solomon basically fell. He was walking by sight and not by faith. He managed to be one of the wisest men that ever lived. He managed to bring 40 years of prosperity to a country. He was that wise. He trusted in spirit that much. And after 40 years, you'd think, well, this is some pretty good practice, right? No problems. It was his choice. Every day we're making a choice, and every day we still have to choose from our divine nature. All of us have within us the capacity to have the same wisdom that King Solomon had. The same wisdom that brought a golden age to Israel for 40 years. We have that wisdom within us also that is available to us through our choices. So are we making choices based on that wisdom? Right? King Solomon didn't. He did, and then he didn't. So it is possible to get really good at it and then forget about it. Right? Just like somebody can go off sugar for 90 days and then forget about it. Right? That could happen. So this is where it starts, is right here. Right now, this is all fresh in our head. It's up to us, our choice. Right now, in this moment, we are at the beginning of a journey we have never taken before. Right here and right now. So are we encouraging others, or are we tearing them down? Are we encouraging ourselves Or are we tearing ourselves down? Are we keeping our promises to ourselves and to other people? We're more likely to break a promise to ourselves than to other people. So are we keeping our promises to ourselves? Are we choosing goals that are worthy of the light that we carry? Are we doing that? Remember, our choice is a superpower. When we surrender our personal will to divine will, what we're surrendering is the struggle. That's all we're surrendering, is the struggle. We have forces in this universe working through us, for us, as us, that are guiding us into that next brightest thing. So until next time, remember, you are the activity of spirit in a body. You are the eyes and the ears and the hands and the heart of spirit walking around in this world, and everything you do, you are blessed, and so it is.